another episode of Game Changers. I'm Mike Cunio alongside Kim Bokamper, Steve Goldstein. Yes, we are on location.
Well, nice to see you.
At the Miami Dolphins training facility. We'll let these two wrap up their hellos because it's not like they see each other every other day or anything like that. But
hockey season's getting started.
He was in New England last week.
First question, why are you here? You should be at the rink.
I'm both places.
You're everywhere.
Not literally right now, but yeah.
He's committed.
Are we going to break down practice number
yes.
one? You want to break it down? I mean, Paul Maurice had him skating a lot. They were hunched over.
Well, they were hunched over.
Yeah, it's hard skates.
They were doing
Sprints.
conditioning.
Oh, yeah.
I'm glad they're working. But let's
They have the
start.
garbage cans out there?
They had them all out.
There you go.
We'll get to hockey eventually, but let's start with the Miami Dolphins. We are here at the Dolphins training facility in Miami Gardens. Bo, the Dolphins have their home opener this week against the Denver Broncos. Look, you're on the sideline for every game.
When's the last time we've been at this stadium for a game? When's the last time?
For a real game?
It's been like a month and a half, right?
It's since preseason game number 1.
Yes. It's
so
a while.
It's been a while since you've been roaming the sidelines there. So I want to start with you because obviously Tua and Mike McDaniel are having a hot start to this season. You are closer to them than any other reporter on game day, in this market in the country. What do you see from the sidelines from those two guys in terms of communication, why they work so well, and why this offense is clicking the way that it is?
I'll say this. That whole sideline communicates from the defensive side to the offensive side to Mike McDaniel's coming into both areas. Not so much the defense, but he'll pop back there every now and then. But the communication's there, and we've talked about it during the preseason. I think Tua this year is comfortable in his own skin. I think he's got confidence in himself, and I think he's got the wherewithal to do whatever he wants to, and he feels good about it. He's worked on it, and you know what? I think some of the best plays we've seen from him are when the play blows up, and he's not trying to stay in there and maybe I can squeeze it in. Throw it in the ground. Let's live to play another day and move on. I think that shows some maturation in Tua. But I also think this offense believes in him 1,000%.
Yeah. Goldie, is this the Alabama Tua that everyone had been waiting for from the time he got drafted?
Yeah, it certainly looks like. We had a chance to talk to Dan Marino today as well, and Danny's really impressed with the way Tua is running this offense and all the weapons he has around him. But, and hey, look, you could say whatever you want and put it on Tua, and yes, he's been hurt, but he comes in, and obviously Chris Grier always had the confidence. He's the one that drafted him, but coaching staff did not have confidence in him. Yeah. They were changing offensive coordinators. They were changing systems. Depending upon who you want to believe, there's a faction of people on the coaching staff, maybe head coach Brian Flores, who are trying to replace him with Deshaun Watson. Yeah. Mike McDaniel walks in. First thing he does in that airplane, the video's gone viral. You're my guy. This is exciting. I think he's got everything going for him, but the big key, and Mike, you and I have discussed this, he's getting rid of that football in a hurry, not giving anybody a chance. He's been touched by the opponent 4 times in the first 2 weeks.
I'll tell you, and let's not overlook the play calling by Mike McDaniel. It has been incredible in the first 2 games, especially the game up in New England. You saw some things tight end just going out to the flats and kind of getting the quarterback out there, getting him on the corner. A lot of different things are running, they're rushing motions and going back in a different direction. A lot of things are going into this offense that is coming out of the creative mind of Mike McDaniel. It's really nice to look at.
If they don't motion more than any team in the NFL, they're top 2.
No, they're number one. They're number one.
Yeah.
And by the way, wait until Devon A-Chain is unleashed this Sunday.
Yeah,
Look out.
With Savon Ahmed on the mend, you might see a little bit more of him. Goldie, I want to get to Bradley Chubb because you've talked to him a little bit this week. It's not just, the home opener, but it's a reunion for him going up against his former team, the Broncos. Everyone usually says the right things, the PC thing. Hey, it's just another game. Can't wait to see the guys. You think this one matters a little bit more to him?
Yeah, not Bradley Chubb. You use the word reunion. I'll use the other our word, revenge.
Revenge. Okay.
I mean, look, say what you want. It's a team that traded him. Yeah. And, Bo, you know this. We never played. You did. Luckily, you were with the Dolphins. But, you get traded. That means someone no longer thinks that you could be part of the solution. He is fired up. It means a lot to him. Said it's going to be a little bit strange. Those guys are like family over there, but he's got a new family here in Miami. And so encouraging, clearly on Sunday night against the Patriots, seeing Bradley Chubb play his best game as a Dolphin.
After the joy of the win in New England, I talked to Bradley on the air, and he said, I can't wait for Denver to come into our building and see what I can do to him. So he may not be a chip on his shoulder. He may have a whole log on his shoulder right now for those guys coming in.
Bo, he's going to be chasing around Russell Wilson a lot. I have to ask the question, do you think Denver fans are looking at that move to bring Russell Wilson in and going, hey, this QB move worked for us?
It worked for them?
Yeah.
No, it worked for us.
Yeah,
it worked for us this week. It worked for the other guys last week, and it's going to work for a lot of teams this year. I think Russell Wilson's shot.
Yeah.
He's not the guy that he was when he first came into the league. I think like a lot of players, that have made a lot of money in this league. They've got other important things. I got a production company here. I'm doing a little hip hop here. I'm doing this and that there. It's like his coach said, hey, you need to get away from that stuff and get back to playing some real football. I don't know that he can get there.
Yeah.
I think his time is over.
You think he's past his prime, Goldie?
Well, I'm still a little bit leery of him coming into this game, to be honest with you. He's got a couple of his weapons back. Sean Payton's calling the plays. It's now week 3. He's not the Super Bowl quarterback that he was years ago. And Vic Fangio's got to be licking his chops. I love this matchup, by the way, Peyton against Fangio.
Yeah.
But Vic Fangio's looking at this and saying, let's get after him. Let's get in his face, force him into some mistakes, and they should have a lot of success on Sunday.
I like sea level, and I like 80 or 90 degrees too. That doesn't bother me.
That would help. Sweat him out.
Right. 1 o'clock games. Gotta love that 11:30 a.m. Dolphins Weekly live on the field, right in that sun when we're just pouring sweat down there.
Perfect.
You always look smooth, though. I don't know how you do
I'm
it.
dying inside.
Maybe inside.
I'm dying inside. All right, more here to come on Game Changers. We're going to keep the football conversation rolling. A lot happening in the college football world. The Miami Hurricanes back in the AP top 25 and moving up. And we got to talk a little prime time out in Colorado as well. Game Changers coming right back.
Coming up, Joe.
Welcome back to Game Changers. We're going to keep the football talk rolling here. Yes, we're at the Dolphins training facility, but time to talk about another team that shares a home here at Hard Rock Stadium. Guys, the Miami Hurricanes, they've moved up in the rankings here. Bo, I want to start with you. Have the Hurricanes' expectations for this year all of a sudden changed? If you asked me if they made a bowl, maybe got to 7 wins, I would say this was a step in the right direction. Is that not enough now this season, considering the way they've played through the first 3 games?
I actually talked to a number of people going into this year, much like I did last year when Mario first came. And they said, hey, don't expect a lot this year. Talking about last year. I asked them this year. They go, well, it's going to be a little better, but I don't expect much more. I think they're getting more than they expected out of year two with Mario. That offensive line looks like a big-time college offensive line. Almost looks like an NFL offensive line. You look at the skill in the front on the front 7 on the defensive side. They're athletic. They can run like we saw the old Hurricanes. They got running backs that have speed. They got receivers that can catch the ball. And they got a quarterback that's delivering the goods right now. So I think, look, I thought this team would get into a bowl. I didn't know they'd go much further. But look, this team could go through the season 2 losses, maybe 3 losses, and put you in a pretty good position when it comes to the bowl season.
Goldie, Tyler Van Dyke said this week that he feels as accurate as he's ever felt since being in college. Do you think he can carry them? Do you think if all else fails, the running game, the offensive line fails, does he have enough firepower in that right arm of his to carry this team the rest of the way?
Well, the offensive line fails, no.
Yes.
And I do think there's some parallels between what we talked about, what's going on with the Dolphins, what's going on with the Hurricanes. Both quarterbacks have a lot of talent. When they have time, they're going to eat you up, both at their level, two at the NFL level, Van Dyke at the college level. We saw last year when he didn't have an offensive line, and it's 2 steps, and they're already on him, he doesn't have much of a chance. That said, this line does look a lot better, like the Dolphins' offensive line, and certainly the talent level all over that field for the Canes. You talked about the D-line, where Jason Taylor's now coaching, Young at wide receiver. This guy looks like, Calvin Johnson out there. They've got a lot of talent. Yeah. So I think if that line holds up, and then you look at that schedule, it's Temple this week. They're going to be 4-0. You get into some of those games. Yeah, North Carolina, got a good quarterback, decent team, but it's not a brutal schedule. No. So I think Van Dyke, as long as the line is pretty good, I think, he can carry it.
For that schedule, you circle that game against FSU. That would be a good measuring stick game for them, considering how much love FSU is getting. You mentioned recruiting, the talent they've gotten, guys. You look at Chaminade Madonna, one of the top teams here locally, one of the top teams in the country. There's Miami commits all over that roster. So that's good. Good to see.
Mario's doing what he knows is the right thing to do. Stay in South Florida, would draw that line up in top of West Palm Beach, and that's the state of Miami that Howard Schnellenberger talked about, and that's how they got the national championship run going. And I think he's all in on that. As many people as many of these guys he can get locally from Dade, Broward, Palm Beach County, the more this team is gonna thrive.
Speaking of those old Canes, I'm watching Colorado this week, and I'm seeing Michael Irvin talking. I'm seeing The Rock talking to them. And I'm seeing some people on Twitter going, hey, why are these old Canes going over to Colorado and not repping the U? And
They like the Buffaloes. They like Ralphie running. Ralphie running down the field before kickoff.
They get the free sunglasses?
They get the free sunglasses and the cowboy hat.
All else pay, though.
My thinking is, though, the way Colorado feels right now kind of has a similar feel to the way the bad boy Miami Canes did, where they were, celebrities on the sidelines, everyone wondering how they're doing it, not afraid to talk trash. Are you cool with the old Canes kind of gravitating that way, saying, hey, we're still Canes, but we like what Deion's doing?
I do, because they're friends of Deion.
Yeah.
Michael played with Deion. They're the closest of friends. And Rock's friends with everybody that went to Miami or has been anywhere around the National Football League or wherever. I think it's great having those guys for Deion. And I think it's good for college football. I think now look, he's going to start. The road gets a little tougher here. They got Oregon coming up. They got USC coming up. We'll see what happens after that. But I think he's got a blueprint in there. The only question I've got is how long is he going to be there? How long is he going to stay there with these guys? And when he does, then the coverage going to be right after that, because he's going to say, you guys that want to come with me, well, let's go. Yeah. You guys that are here, you might want to go to Colorado and see if you can get a job there, because there's plenty of vacancies. So, it's a great story now. And he says a lot of the right things. I want my guys to be disciplined. I don't want them to disrespect women. I want them to dress properly. I want them to do the thing. So he's sending good positive messages. But he's also a salesman. He's selling sunglasses. He's selling whatever else he can.
Hasn't said no to an interview.
He could slap on him. Is going to have $1 attached to it.
Gold, you like the idea of the Rocky Hurricanes, if you will?
No, I'm not a fan of it. I know they're friends with them, but no, you wore the. You wore the Canes. You played at the Orange Bowl back in the day. Come on back to Hard Rock and help it out here and juice up the sidelines.
Well,
I know it's not a big rivalry.
That locker room has Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson's name on it.
Right.
So I think he's doing enough.
Right. Now I know they're friends with Deion, and it's great.
Yes.
And by the way, for those guys, make no mistake. That's the place to be for them also. So there might be a little bit of that going on also.
Sure. Well, you know what? If Miami starts winning again, this will be the place to be. Say whatever you want about the Miami Hurricane fan base. When they are winning, Hard Rock Stadium, if you were there for the Notre Dame game, the Virginia Tech game 2017, there was no better atmosphere in college football than that stadium. All right, speaking of atmosphere, we know Inter Miami has had a great atmosphere the last few months, obviously, because Inter Miami has been good with Messi. Messi was back this week, but did they spoil maybe his health in a game that may not have been that important? We're going to talk about the Messi injury coming up next on Game Changers. Welcome back to Game Changers. We're coming to you from just outside Hard Rock Stadium. We're at the Dolphins practice facility here in Miami Gardens. Now, back on the field this week over in Fort Lauderdale, Drive Pink Stadium, was Lionel Messi and Jordi Alba. But in that game against Toronto FC, they left early with some injuries. Luckily, Inter Miami still got the W without them there. My question, Goldie, to you is, knowing that they had muscular fatigue going into it, knowing that Toronto was one of the
fatigue.
Yeah, you don't want to mention that.
I'm sorry. Let me just get through it. I know.
That's it. Done.
Knowing that Toronto was a lesser team, they should have won the game. Yeah, a near pull. Should Tata Martino, taken maybe a page out of Mike McDaniel's book, where he held Jalen Phillips back in a game and maybe you didn't need him, and just rested those guys, wait for the U.S. Open Cup final?
Well, first of all, I think it's the ultimate second guess, because I didn't hear anybody talking about this on Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday afternoon.
Sure.
Saying, hey, you know what, Toronto's coming in. By the way, they're last in the league by far. I think they're the worst team in the MLS. So nobody said it before. It's easy to say after. Did they need them to win that game? Probably not. But that's a tough thing, man. This guy is the best player in the world. Yeah. He has walked in here and flat out dominated a league in one of the sports that's a huge team sport. Usually one guy can't dominate in soccer. So if he wants to play, the coach really going to be able to tell him, don't play that? That's a tough thing, I think, to put on a coach. If a player wants to play, and I understand the whole philosophy of you got to protect him against himself.
Right. Yeah.
But make no mistake, Messi runs the whole thing.
Sure, but nothing. They don't move forward without him.
100%.
At some point,
but
coach has to be the coach. Mike McDaniel said this week that Jalen Phillips wanted to play this weekend, and they said, "Hey, we have to sometimes be the bad guy and do what's right for the player and the organization."
When does being right for the organization with a player that probably could play, and you're just not going to let him play?
Depends on the player. If Mike McDaniel is here, and it's Dan Marino, and he says, "I'm good," I think Dan Marino's playing.
Maybe.
So maybe that's you know what I mean. But it's tough to tell. And we don't know what went on. But I'm assuming he was asked, and Messi said, "I'm good to go."
It's it's this new thing where we have an MLS team, but now they're loaning them out. Not they're loaning them out. They're sending them back to their country for the World Cup.
Well, that's the ultimate problem. He's playing too much soccer.
And there you go. So you got where he would have time off to rest. He's playing these friendlies back for which is understandable, but. What's it do to when he comes back? And look, they got to win every game. Yeah. If they want to get into the postseason, they got to win every game from here on in. Not the tournament games, but the MLS games. Can they do that? I don't know. What happens if he gets what'd you call it?
Muscular fatigue.
Do you have any muscular fatigue? You okay, Bo?
You know what? I'll get
I'm walking muscular fatigue.
When they close the hood on me, I'll get muscular fatigue then.
And by the way, who needs to zip it is Alexi Lalas.
Really?
Coming out, he's talking about they have to announce when he's hurt and not. They can play him when they want to play him.
Yeah.
Right.
Not play him when they don't want to play him. And it's a competitive disadvantage if you announce days before that he's not playing. So Alexi Lalas could say whatever he wants, and I do feel bad for fans if they buy tickets and then they go to the game, he doesn't play. But this is still a competition. This isn't a sideshow and a PR stunt. Right. This is competition.
That's the only group of people in this whole situation I feel bad for is when you expect him to play and he doesn't come, and you got all these people pay this money. It's hard to get to a game with kids, and it's expensive. I get it.
Look,
but you pull the plug on these guys
people
sometimes.
People don't want to go see LeBron. He doesn't play every game.
Right.
It's sports is becoming that.
Load management.
Guys don't play. Load management is playing, and you almost kind of have to be a sports scientist now to project. Hey, my kid wants to go see LeBron. Well, let me look at the schedule. Let me see if he's played 2 nights in a row. I ain't going to that game.
Second night of a back-to-back, forget it. Forget it for most guys.
But in the Messi situation,
that's just the way it is.
It's a competitive advantage. If Inter Miami keeps the other team guessing. So they're not going to announce 2 days before and give them the whole game. Okay, Messi's not there. We change the way we do things.
I think they're in such a tough spot, being the fact that, as you mentioned, pretty much having to win out to get into the playoffs, and then you have this U.S. Open Cup kind of just lingering there. Yeah. It's like you have to prioritize and what do you want? Because guess what happens? Let's say Inter Miami loses a couple of games even with Messi. Now what do? Do you trot him out for games that won't matter down the stretch, or do you sit him out and let the guy rest? Because I think it's something like they play 4 games in 11 days.
I think you've got to play him for certainly as much as he can play, as much as he's willing to play. And remember that he came in midway through the season. It's not like you had him at game 1 and you could build up where you could give him days off.
True.
And it didn't hurt. Now
it's a full court press.
You got him in a half. It's a mad dash now. And if you want to get in the playoffs, he better play in every one of those MLS games. Yeah. Because if you lose one, you're out. So there's a tough situation. But look, you got Messi. You're going to have him for another season. Get through this season, and then next year you'll be able to manage everything much better than they will right now.
All I know is when the season's over, just put him in a bubble, let him go sit on a beach, and do nothing. Absolutely nothing for a couple months. All right, we still got more to come on Game Changers. We're going to talk a little bit more about what's going on in sports here in South Florida from Dolphins training facility. We'll be right back. All right, right, we're going to wrap things up here on Game Changers. Usually we talk about what's going on trending on Twitter. This week, Twitter is the thing that is trending. I want to get both your opinions on this because, Bo, I know you're a big tweeter. They're talking about X. You're right. You're right. I know. You're right or die. All right, let's speak about X and Elon Musk. He wants to maybe charge.
David Howard?
Yeah, no. Maybe charge a monthly subscription to use something that was free for almost 20 years. Bo, are you going to stop tweeting, Xing, whatever you want to call it?
I stopped tweeting 20 years ago.
I know you did.
So
which means you never started tweeting.
No, which means I never
That's not true. He likes my tweets every once in a while.
That's his ghost person that runs his account.
No. I do Instagram.
Yes, you do.
You
I don't
gram.
send Instagram. I look at Instagram, but that's it.
You're
that's
a scroller.
I'm a scroller.
What about
mindless.
you? But you know what he does on Instagram? He does watch because I showed up to my wife's baby shower, and it's first thing he says to me after not seeing him for months is, "Cunyo, why did you go to the baby shower?" I just went to say hello. This is
like the muscular fatigue thing.
He's getting the muscular.
He wore a pink shirt.
Come on.
He wore a pink shirt.
It's a baby girl.
Yeah, lace pants. Well, it was nice. It was a nice look, Mike. It was a nice look.
I'll talk about the lace pants. You should see the pants I'm wearing now. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, thanks.
I get it.
Goldie, you going to pay $3 a month?
That's what it is, $3 a month?
I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah. That's a lot of information on there for what we do. That's what I use it for.
He was like the guy that says, I hate those people that always put their kids' pictures on here.
Right.
Once he has a kid, boom, 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 boom.
I want you to know. It really, I'm just keeping.
The big question, Bo, are you going to unfollow him? You wouldn't do that. You wouldn't unfollow him, would you? No way.
I've considered it.
Really? Wow. Breaking news on that's a game changer.
Excuse me. We're gonna unfollow you from the show. All right. We're done with Game Changers today. I'm done with both of these guys. We'll see you next week. Hopefully,
Bruno.
Yeah, our cameraman's real happy with our shot right now. He's sitting down over here shaking his head. We might have to get him on the show next week. Thanks for joining us. For Goldie, Bo, I'm Mike Cunyo. We'll get it under control for next time. Thanks.